Welcome to TLC for the Soul podcast, where soul meets spirit. You have entered into sacred space. I'm your host, TAMI Lynn Chambers, and I'm here to help you shine. Now let's get going on this podcast journey.
Hello, friends. Hello. And welcome to this episode of the show. We have a lot to cover today. So I want to welcome you in and have you get settled. We'll talk a little bit about what we're going to work with and work on. First of all, I'd like to invite in our guides who overlight this show, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, the Pleiadians, to join me in this sacred space here with all of you. Asking them to help me stay on track with all of the good stuff that's going on. I'm finally back in the land of the wellness people. We're going to talk a little bit about that. So the purpose of some of these shows is kind of the lineup slightly changing, I guess, based on the instruction set I've received from Merlin and the Archangels. And excuse me if my mind still wanders slightly. I am still not 100, you guys. I know the last show I did, I was like, I'm going to be better on the February the 2nd. And now it's February, whatever it is, the 12th. And I'm still going on with these light body upgrades. So a few days ago, let's just kind of roll into it and they'll help me with the momentum because I want to share what we're going to be doing. The purpose of these particular shows is multiple fold. So your soul is being guided here for various reasons. For some of you, it's to get confirmation of stuff you may already know. Just to hear it maybe from a different perspective, and that's going to make it like click for you. For others, you are getting downloads of information that are kind of going to help you figure out what to do next on your journey, your path. Everybody, if you're receptive to it, is going to get some sort of an activation. It could be something that is not immediately apparent to you, or it could be something that after you finish listening to this show, you're like, oh my, I'm supposed to go do something. I'm like, whatever it is, it'll be individual to you. We're going to do light language. We're going to read a channeling of the current energies. Now, sorry for all the throat clearing. The channeling of the current energies, I just asked to hear what's most needed by the collective that listens to this show. So whether you're new or returning, I thank you for being here. Thank you for being with me on this journey for many years now. And, there's all sorts of energies happening all the time, but the ones that are pertinent to you listening are the ones that I've asked to be channeled in. And the way I like to do this show to make it a little bit fun too is I've got a channeling of the energies. We're going to talk about that. We're going to do some light language to assist you because of what I'm seeing in those energy update. I've got the energy story, so that's our Bringers of the Light story. I have a new chapter of the Wells of Azure Falls. I know it's been a while since we've touched on it, but there's been a reason for that. And we will read that chapter and we'll pull out the metaphors that are pertinent to you. Now, you're not just idly sitting by listening either, so put on your master eyes, put them on, open your master eyes and your master ears. Invite in your own guides if you so choose to help assimilate these messages for you on your behalf. yes, it's meant to be entertaining, but these aren't shorts. Like the shorts are the ones where it's like, whoa, anything interesting can come out during some of the shorts and some of the other types of the shows that we do. Like we will be doing a full moon pick a card, I believe. Thankfully that I'm finally feeling better. I think the show is kind of going to be back on its regular schedule of more frequent uploads. The other day I was wanting to light an incense, and this little green incense came out. I don't know what it is. When we go to the incense store, they have them all in jars, and we just pick them, and I forget to write down. But I was like, something's up with this green incense. Let's light it. And I lit it. Every time I would light it, a little spark would go up from it, and it would burn. We're just going to clear our space right now with it. It would burn for a few moments, and then it would go out. And I was kind of like, Merlin, you're playing with me. I don't know what it is about the color of it that made me feel like Merlin was around. I was like, Merlin, I was feeling really, still not feeling good. And I was like, Merlin, you're playing with me. And it kept happening. I don't even think it's going to stay lit now. It just kept happening. And then it's kind of like, it's time to get to work. It's playing games with me. And Merlin is like my high core. If you follow the bringers of the light, then high core is kind of the boss who gives like the light beings in the story, the light warriors in the story, their assignments. And so there were some new assignments for me, which ends up being there'll probably be some new assignments for you, since you follow this show and everyone kind of follows it in a different capacity. Let's just see if this will keep burning. Come on. There we go. All right. So let's first start with the current energies, the channeling of the current energies, because I thought that the title was quite interesting. And I want to have like more, it's not like, I think I said this before, it's like it's not like I'm low energy, it's that my vibration is just super zen with all the meditation that I do with Master Co. And I think I did a video on this one time, like, is a peaceful life boring? But right now, I'm just in a super zen. So being able to work with your own consciousness, getting closer to who you are as a soul, as you are getting higher in vibration, learning more about how to work with your own energy, you will find that there's less of like this erratic heartbeat of like highs and lows. I'm not saying they're not there, because believe me, when I was sick, I was like not a happy person. I was very irritable and mad that I was sick. I've been sick now for 3 weeks, and it's not even a sickness. Where the heck is this? Okay. It's not even really a sickness. It's an upgrade, but I've just had enough of it already. So but the more you meditate and the more you get in touch with yourself and who you really are, the more your energy starts to level out, and the more you access the higher realms. So the more you meditate, the more your crown opens, the more spiritual light and spiritual power comes down, the higher in vibration and higher dimensions you're able to reach, then the more you reach those bliss states or those zen states where, like yesterday, my son and I were sitting on the couch talking, and he's like, Mom, I just feel like really zen and really peaceful. And I'm like, yes, that's how we keep the house. When we keep the energy within our sacred temple, our home. Like, I want it to be I don't want a lot of drama. There's no need for drama. It may be exciting. What if somebody says, like, I like it in my movies, but not in my real life? So it's just very zen. But is today February? Yeah, today's February the 12th. So I channeled this last night. So I want to read this update of what the guides are giving us. So this is coming from the Archangels, the Pleiadians, or the Galactic Councils of Light. I also have Lemurian councils coming in, as well as Merlin sharing this information. So I'm just going to read it as it was channeled. We'll kind of pick it apart. We're going to do the light language. We're going to read the story. I'm going to get to it all here at 9 minutes and 56 seconds. You guys know me in my intros. And you guys know I love you all, and I'm very happy that you're here. Wherever you're coming from, whether you're on YouTube or you're coming from a podcast provider, we are all over the place, trying to get the message out, trying to raise your vibe, make you feel better. Okay, so this channeling is called Resurgence and Photonic Belts. Now you may receive your own information of what's going on for you that may be different, but out of everybody listening, this is what is being shared for everyone that you kind of most need to know in this now about current energies. This is a time, so resurgence is interesting. So this is a time of renewed energy and a feeling of getting back on track. So you may have been felt like you were off track. So maybe you were sick, or maybe you just got pulled out of your normal routine for something else. And now astrologically too, there's a whole bunch of stuff happening to get us back on track. And that's a whole other story, but there may have been interference in your field by the way of illness, which they are calling a light body upgrade. I'm like, okay, you come down here and experience it. But anyway, illness. So it was not the virus. It was not anything like that. It was not that. It was a light body upgrade or some other circumstances that pulled you out of your normal routine and have you navigating a path that seemed very different than what you were used to. This is for like the past month or so. So depending on when you're listening to this, this is what's been happening for you, because these are timeless, but over the last month or so. This energy is clearing now, and it had a very specific benefit for each one of you, be it the physical, emotional, or mental body upgrade to a higher quotient of light, or maybe all of the above. You may now feel as if you are lifted up and vibrating at a very different frequency than what you had before. I do feel that. I don't know if you guys do too. It may feel almost surreal to you, and or your senses may feel as if they are upgraded, but in a way that makes you feel more sensitive. So for the first few weeks when my son and I were both sick at the same time, we were both saying the same thing, like the colors were super vibrant. Everything smelled different and weird. Everything tasted like different and weird. And the only thing that didn't taste oddly like super funky were like fruits and vegetables. Tasted like, I'm like, fruits and vegetables are fine. But everything else that wasn't a fruit or a vegetable tasted very weird. Everything smelled weird. Colors were just like popping. I was like, my God, these colors are so vibrant. It was just like overwhelming upgrade. Light body activations are occurring at a cellular level and are allowing you to become a conduit of this new light that is emerging on the planet. Photon belts are passing within and around the Earth at this time in an ever-increasing planetary update to the Earth grid system. If you listen to other way showers, you may hear them talking about similar things. As for us here on this channel, myself and you, my fellow Earth grid keepers, here on the channel, I'm working with Merlin and the Celtic dragons, who in turn are working with the Grand Emperor Dragon ley lines of Gaia. So there is some Earth Guardian work that we're doing, kind of. We're going to actively do some, but even just being who you are in the location that you're at, where we've talked about this before, like the light bright pegs, we are working with these Grand Emperor Dragon ley lines of Gaia and helping the vibration of those ley lines stay consistently up because our vibration is consistently up. This Earth Grid Keeper work may have you moving about the planet to locations you have never been before. Trust the process and know that your light body signature is an important tool in the ascension process. You may not notice anything at all, or you may feel and have very palpable bodily awareness when you're being activated around certain ley lines and sacred portals. Pay attention to the activity within and around you. Light Warrior and Earth Grid Keeper star seeds are much needed at this time. Let's bring the vibration of humanity to a higher level, one light warrior at a time. Blessings be to you for your service work. So I did have a vision in my meditation. I think it was today. I don't even remember. I think it was today. But it was weird. It was like the United States. And it was like all these colors of, I guess, light workers or whatever. It was very weird. But they were all like moving, almost like they were all rain colors of the rainbow. And they were all like moving up. And they couldn't really tell if it was like moving up in a physical location or if it was just like a visual representation of like our vibrations. Okay, so they're saying it's both of my nose is itchy, of our vibrations moving up as well. I just find it interesting that they only showed me like the United States. It was kind of like the United States and Canada. Now, one thing that did come up I think I can grab it. For 2022, I showed these papers before. The overarching theme for 2022 that we were working with here, it was falling in love again. And one of it was Earth Guardians. One of the main overarching themes for 2022 was Earth Guardians. New love was another one, and so much more to be thankful for. But you may be called into service work in your area. If you work a lot with fairies, then you're always working to like keep trash clean and keep areas vibrating high. You may be asked to, maybe not even be asked, but you may be shown like make a wand. And the reason I say that is it's going to come up in our energy story, but make a wand and go do something with it. So what do we want to do next? So we want to do some light language just to open you up to this channeling even further, because it's not just the light language we've talked about before, but it's like my energy brings you a certain energy, because your energy is supposed to raise to like the highest of what's vibrating around you. Like, I'm not coming down to some lower level. I want you guys to like, I'm not saying you are, but I want everybody to kind of like be able to rise up to their highest possible level based on where you're at on your journey and your path. So let's bring in some, Emperor Dragon light language. Never done this before. We never had that. I've done dragon, but not this Emperor Dragon. They intrigue me, these Emperor Dragon ley lines. So we're going to bring in some earth-based light language from the Grand Emperor Dragon's ley lines. Let's just open us up a little bit more so we can receive the other work that's going to come here in this episode. So just close your eyes and take a deep breath. Just be open to receive. This is just going to help raise your vibration. Make you feel very calm, grounded, peaceful. Inyari kurutu. She oh. Oh. Nya or nyara. Pit ut itut. Pit ut itut. Ooh. Nya nyo. Nya. Chikaran tikara. Take a deep breath. Like hard to talk after some of those. The other things we were working with, just let your brain kind of, it just feels like it's, it's like my brain gets kind of scrambled with some of those. They're so high vibe. So wow, so Emperor Dragons, what do you want us to know? Like as Earth Guardians? So the Pleiadians are here. So they were showing me this guy that I put, oh, he's kind of see-through. I put him on here, but it said, be a hero and recycle your magazines. Paper, yeah. And I shouldn't, I'm doing it again back with the plastic bottles, and I have to like catch myself. Oh. I have been so sick that I have not had the energy to even go to my alkaline water store and refill my water bottle. So I'm just going to have to like let myself off the hook on that one. Let's, so we had, the other thing we were working with was the puzzle unwinds for the first quarter. And it's like this labyrinth that's slowly starting to come together and show itself. And there's all these energies in this labyrinth. And oh my gosh, somebody was talking about this puzzle. I don't know who was talking about it today. But for me, I don't know about you guys, but the way forward still seems a little murky. So there's things that you can't still see up ahead about your journey, and that can be a little unnerving. And it's going to come out in the energy story here that we're going to read in a minute. But I want to flip into just a couple of cards. Oh, I saw 22 on the timer. But from Pleiadian Power, just to see if the guides, just, you know, we like to play with the cards, if they have any other messages or things that they want me to tease out of the energy story. So the energy story we'll play with here. It's a channeled story. There's metaphors and meanings that I'll talk about, as well as others that may come up for you. Oh my God, these are the same cards we drew the other day. The first card that came out is You Are a Bringer of the Light. So these stories we channel are bringers of the light. So these two, the people in them, not just Abigail and Dakar, but others, Tamber and Jameson, others, Polly Willikers, they all are bringers of the light, and they all have different assignments and things to do as part of their soul mission and their soul purpose. And so that is part of why we bring these little stories to you. One, because they're entertaining for me, but they do have, they are also an activation. The second message we got is nourish your dream as if it were a small child. This is talking about not giving up. So we just talked about the way forward may still seem a little unclear at this time. Like, what am I going to be doing 6 months from now? I have absolutely no idea. I'm telling you, there's big changes happening here. I just asked my guides if I could announce that, and they said not yet. So maybe closer to the end of the month, I'll be able to share what's happening personally, and how my life is changing in a direction that I'm not really clear on what's happening there. But anyway, but don't forget about your dreams. You know what your goals and your manifestations are. You know what you want. So that's clear, right? I know I want to grow the channel and our community. I want, you know, more people to see our work and this work. I want to grow this family on this channel, and work with all of you more. That's a dream. I have a couple others too I've talked about before. I'm not going to bring them up right now, but you know, there's people I want to meet and relationships I want to have and stuff I want to do with my life that's drastically different than what I'm doing now. And, you know, I'm calling those people in. They're part of my soul journey. You know, I'm calling in a special relationship. That's part of my soul journey. Is it here yet? No. Is it coming? Yes. When? I have no earthly idea. You know, when other people's free will choices are involved, when spirit's involved in bringing other people to you that are part of your soul path, then they'll show up. No magic you can do, no spell you can say is, no visualization is going to make a person or a situation happen any sooner than it's meant to happen. Believe me, I've learned by experience, especially in this lifetime. And I think what's frustrating, okay, I guess why are they having me diatribe on here? Should I diatribe? Okay, they're saying keep going with this topic. Yes, keep going. So I think what's frustrating is in past lifetimes, we had access to more powerful types. I'm just channeling this too. We had access to more powerful types of magic, and we were able to do a little bit more in terms of bringing things down into the physical than we are now. So there's kind of been a quote unquote cap put on what we are able to manifest on our own. Wow, I'm getting emotional even talking about that. Which is why it has been so challenging in this lifetime. I've been working with clients on this too. It keeps coming up. So others of you need to hear this as well. So there was a level of quote unquote magic being being able to manipulate's not a good word, but being able to form energy and bring it down into the physical from the higher realms. We used to have the ability to do that. And then people started stepping out of their power. And people started doing things that weren't in integrity. And so a cap was put on basically our manifesting power. And we had to relinquish some of those abilities back to source and back to the spirit and back to the angels and so forth to help us with that, because we got a little greedy and we started just doing things that weren't for the highest good of all involved. But what happens is, in this lifetime, we remember that we were able, if you're listening to this, most likely this is you, we remember that we were able to do this in previous lifetimes. Like, shit, I used to just be able to cast a spell, wait the required time, and the thing would manifest. I used to be able to bring people into my reality just by wishing them there. The force, the magnetics would be so strong that they would be compelled to show up or be there, or a certain situation would be able to be dropped on you were just able to create a timeline. There's like quantum stuff. You just be able to create a timeline, drop your wishes onto the timeline based on what worked best for you. And when you got to that point in the timeline, the thing would just be there. Okay, nowadays, this lifetime, not so much so. The lessons are different. We've almost been put in like a back in a kindergarten state where it's kind of like, well, you misused power in some way before, or maybe not you specifically, but collectively power was misused. A cap was placed on the ability to work that kind of magic, and the guides took over to help ensure that what is for our best and highest good is what we were working towards. And we were then made to work with the qualities of patience, perseverance, healing old stuff from these past lifetimes or this lifetime, and basically just like suck it up to the fact that we didn't have that level of power anymore. But that doesn't mean that the stuff doesn't happen. It's just you have less control over the when and the how than you used to in past lifetimes. And now you're kind of at the better judgment of your guides and source. And really your higher self, because your higher self helped create this life plan. Your higher selves and the other higher selves involved, the major players of your life plan, got together before incarnation and worked out all the details. Is kind of how it works now. But that doesn't mean that doesn't mean give up on your dreams because you don't see them happening. It means just continue. I'm just as frustrated by these things sometimes as you are, but just continue to have faith as best you can that the big things that you really want are happening for you. They wouldn't have come into your field of awareness at this level of your journey if they weren't meant for you. Now, some things do pop up as surprises, but they're typically better than you're expecting, not worse. And then the last card we got was a Pleiadian Pick Me Up. So let's do this one together. This is a love, bringing in a love vibration. So let's take a deep breath together. Now you're going to breathe in love and breathe out love 3 times. So let's breathe in love. Breathe out love. Breathe in love. Breathe out love. Breathe in love. And breathe out love. Okay. Now you're ready for this light language, which is a Pleiadian Pick Me Up. And then we're going to read our story. And then we're going to call it a show. Let's take a deep breath for this Pleiadian light language. This really is going to help lift your vibe to more joy, happiness, kind of childlike. Let's go. Okay, I have to say this. All right, because I'm like, who the heck is this? All right, so the Pleiadians were in there, but there was something else coming through, and I was like, who the heck is this? So there have been these like dodo birds like following me around energetically, and I'm like, some of that was these dodo birds. They're kind of funny. And they were making me laugh. All right. Let's get into what Abigail and Dakar are doing and see if there's any metaphors you can pull out of that. This is also current energies or what may be coming up for you in the, we usually call this part of the show the, what is it? Like what's coming up, like the week ahead. This is like the week ahead stuff. Okay. So you probably don't remember because it's been a while, but Whales of Azure Falls, Abigail and Dakar got together. It was winter time. It was January. They got in their car to go to Santa Marlena for a vacation because they felt like they needed to take a break. They were being playful with each other as they always are. And then some like lower dark energy had attached itself to their car, this owie bowie character, and he was like, I'm gonna break this couple up. I'm going to do what I can to tear down the bringers of the light. I'm like, okay, those are lofty goals for this kind of an energy. But so we had some like, oh my God, it's so windy outside, you guys. I don't know if you can see those bushes, but it's like 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and there's like this whistling window. It's making me laugh. And Abigail was asked to bring sugar cookies and a raincoat. She didn't know why. And then, like, I got pulled out of commission, just like the current energies were that we were reading. And I haven't written since then. So this is channeled in. This is chapter 4, Santa Marlena. So just listen in terms of your own journey. Like I said, these are energy stories. They're meant to activate, but there's also metaphors or things going on with what's happening with the characters in the story that could be happening for you. So Dakar drove in the way that he was used to, taking the Portsmouth road that led away from Rockaway Point and out northerly towards Tessellock. He had to get to the ferry before noon, as the one and only boat for the day would leave port and take them even further north to the lock of Santa Marlena. He was making good time, but Abigail shot him a sideways glance, and he knew that something was up. "What is it, darling?" he said, pulling the car to the side of the road, knowing full well she needed something out of one of her bags, most likely the sandwiches, or it could be her wand, or anything else for that matter, but by now he knew that look. "You didn't have to pull over," she said, although silently she knew that her wand was in the overnight bag in the trunk. "I have to do something up here a ways before we can continue," she said, and she knew that he knew what she meant. So there's a lot here about, these two have a lot that goes on telepathically. So if you are in a divine counterpart relationship already, maybe even if you haven't met this person on the 3D, you just kind of know of them, or maybe you don't know them, maybe you just know their energy. There's a lot of telepathic and 5D stuff going on energetically between two people. And I guess in this coming week will be as well. So nonetheless, pulling over it would put them off course slightly, and Dakar reminded himself that he really wasn't technically in charge at all. Here we go, you guys. Listen up. Spirit and his guides, and all our guides and angelic spirits, were the ones really helping control the flow of lives, working with diligence to ensure that enlightened souls stayed on track with their soul plan. Hence, remember I was talking through the Taoism before and going with the flow. It's like, we're really not in control of anything, apparently. Dakar eased the car to the shoulder and got out, pulling the collar of his jacket up against a somewhat brisk wind coming from the south. He hoped that wind wouldn't delay the ferry at all. Okay, so south winds, usually the element of fire has to do with the south. I also take the south usually to be like the muse type of energy and passion type of energy and like sacral energy. So there's south winds coming in. Owie Bowie, this is the dark energy that's been attached to their car, jumped off the bumper and made his escape into the engine of the car. He had some work to do in there and he needed to get to it. He rattled some wires and then bit down hard on one, causing a little spark. He winced at the electric jolt and removed himself from the engine compartment. Might as well ride up on top, he thought, settling in between several overnight bags on the roof. The dashboard lights flickered and Abigail was slightly suspicious, but her thoughts were more on the assignment she'd been given to take her wand and open a portal at the halfway mark of the trip. Highcore needed this portal ready and waiting, he had said to her last night in her dream time. But ready and waiting for what? He hadn't shared those details. Dakar moved the bags about and pulled her wand from the Hello Kitty weekender. The ornate crystal and gold wand glittered in the sunlight and jumped in his hand. He wondered if he should have brought his wand, but reminded himself this was supposed to be a vacation. He slipped back into the driver's seat and passed the wand over to her. He looked at her deeply for what seemed like a moment, but was actually longer. He reached over and touched her cheek, letting his fingers linger there. She softened, especially when he looked at her like that, and she was so thankful in that moment for him. The lights jumped a little while you were outside, she said, knowing there was no time for an interlude in the forest, even if the heat he was sending her suggested otherwise. There's those south winds again. That's odd, he said, removing his hand and belting his seatbelt. But no time to troubleshoot now. We've got a ferry to catch. Can you cast this portal while we're moving? I should be able to, she said, readying the wand by projecting light beams from her heart into it. Let's see, shall we? Zakar revved the car and pulled out onto the road again. Just as a spark went up from the heavily chewed engine wire, the car sputtered and stopped, half on and half off the shoulder. The lights flickered, and then everything went black. Oh, well, that was unexpected, he said, digging in the glove box for his flashlight. I guess someone had other ideas about this trip right now, he said with suspicion. Her senses were keen now to what was around, and it didn't feel friendly. Somewhere out there was something that was trying to thwart their plans, and that made for a very upset Zakar. Nothing was going to come between him and his vacation, he vowed, as he made a mental dial-up report to High Court to share their whereabouts. This could either end peacefully or not, he thought, but he was tired of wayward spirits trying to derail his plans. It had all started long ago when he was a teenager, but that story would have to wait for now. He was ghost hunting, and he needed a quick fix to get back on the road again. He didn't want to spend the night at the ferry crossing. So I thought there would be more than that, but there's not. So there was one chapter for this coming week's energy. South wind, so there's like a lot of sacral energy. If you and your partner are together, or even in the astrals, there could be some passion energy flowing, some telepathy. I have been noticing telepathic communication coming in, like when I wake. I hear it most like when my mind is like totally not focused on anything. So like if I'm just falling asleep, or I'm just waking up, or sometimes if I'm just like mindlessly doing something, I will hear that telepathy or telepathic communication. So that is coming through. Lower energy is still trying to mess with us, bringers of the light. However, I do have to say, for those of you that think that lower energy is always around trying to thwart your plans, don't take things personally, number one. And the way, I like how Master Ko puts it, one of my teachers, he's like, if you're so high vibe and you are, you're talking about, the law of attraction, like attracts like. Well, if you're so high vibe, you wouldn't be attracting low vibe. You'd be attracting high vibe. So not everything is a psychic attack or lower energy trying to purposely thwart your plans. Now, there could be lower energy around, and you could bump up against it, but at this point in the game, I think most of you know how to deal with lower energy. And if you don't, then you need to find someone to help you know how to do that. And I know it can be very scary. I've had a lower earthbound spirit attach itself to me before. It was very terrifying. And I did need a different teacher, not Master Ko, but I needed a teacher's help to help me get rid of that earthbound spirit. It was way back at the beginning of my journey when I was first trying to learn to work with all different types of energy, but it was very, very frightening. So these lower types of energies are around. Could be an earthbound spirit, could be who knows what. And they're kind of like trying to mess around, but they're not necessarily trying to mess around like with you. That's where spirit wants you to understand the distinction. Like, it's not like someone's out to get you, but there is a lower energy around. You could bump up against it. If you're unawares and you open yourself to it, maybe unexpectedly, then you could get pulled into a lower energy type situation. But lower energies are not actively seeking you out to do you harm, because that does not necessarily work with your vibration. Let's just see if there's anything else. Casting portals, that was the one thing, and then we're going to wrap it up. We talked earlier about being an Earth Guardian, getting called into service work as an Earth Guardian. This can be quite fun. Merlin, I work with Merlin. Some of you may work with others of higher like a higher echelon, like a boss. It's not a boss. It's like an Archangel Michael type of energy. One that's of a leadership capacity with the councils of light, and there's many different councils of light. But they may call you into action and ask you to do certain earth grid work. They used to have me go into different places locally and open portals. And I'm like, why am I opening this portal? It's like, oh, it's needed because this light's going to come down at this time and need to go through here and all that. So that can be quite fun. So if you are open to that and you are interested in that, then, call that experience into yourself. Just like Abigail's doing with her wand, she knows what she's supposed to do. Dakar, he knows what he did. They've been doing this for a while. Some of us have been doing it for a while, and we get called into action. We just receive the download of what we're supposed to do. We just do that work. Could even be remote. May not be that you have to go anywhere. It may be. We used to work a lot directly through Avalon here on the channel, and we'd be called to go to Avalon and do something in Avalon. That hasn't happened in a while, but that's out there as well as an option. Working through some of the sacred sites, Sedona, Avalon, Shasta, Lemire, there's many of them, Uluru, all of those. All right, let me see if there's anything else. They want me to draw one last card to wrap it up. As they show me the child's play thing. Let's see. Oh, you guys are so good. If you're listening to this, you can't see these cards, I know, but you can't see what I'm showing on the camera for you, my YouTube friends. But the other thing we did in January when we talked about the year ahead was for this quarter, we had some little kids come through on one of the pictures. And I wrote child's play above it because I just fell in love with these little kids and how they were their smiles and just everything about them. I know it's really bad to see with the light coming through. But so the card we just drew, our guys are smarty pants here. I'm telling you, Merlin is you're like a little trickster. The card we got is child's play. I'll show it for you too, but it's child's play. It's and the card says, "Close your eyes," he said, covering her heart-shaped sunglasses with his hands. "You count and I'll hide." This is very Abigail and Dakar, playful. They do a lot of naked hide and seek and stuff, but this is the energy of child's play. Don't forget to have fun. No matter what's going on around you, as best you can, try to find some moments in your day to just remember who you are. Remember the lighthearted side of things. Don't take everything so seriously. Let yourself have a treat. Let yourself just laugh for the sake of nothing. Find some goofy shit on TV or whatever, or Netflix. I don't even watch regular TV, but a Netflix or something. And just laugh. My son and I watched Wayne's World yesterday. I was like, oh my God, this movie's so dumb. Why did I like it back when it first came out? But it was just something, dumb. And we lost ourselves for an hour. We kind of laughed at some of the silly stuff that they were doing. So just lighten up a little bit on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. All right, you guys, I'm going to call it a show. I love you all very much. The next time I see you, hopefully, barring any other weird setbacks of my health, any other further light body upgrades, I'll see you next for a full moon, probably pick a card. All right, I love you all very much. Take care.